guide me.
Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenahan.
Well, I promise you one thing about today's show. You're going to want to have a pen and paper handy, maybe a whole notebook so you can take notes. We've got a lot to talk about, and we're going to be chock full of tips and things for you, I promise. And you always hear me talk in this podcast about passion. I have been a stickler about passion. My students at the broadcast school, and they'll tell you, it was always passion, live the dream, right? Our guest today has more passion in her little finger than I could ever preach about in my entire career. I swear to you. And she's done everything in this business, from songwriter to staff writer to song plugger, held a lot of different management positions. She's worked with legends in this industry like Barbara Orbison, Roy's wife. They had a huge publishing company in this town. Merle Kilgore, who along with June Carter wrote Ring of Fire, Hank Jr., and these are just a few of the names. Today her passion lies with helping songwriters and artists and from everywhere. Right. It's global. Her organization is called Global Songwriters Connection, or as we say, GSC. And we are so proud and happy to have Sheree Spoltore with us today. Hi, Sheree.
Oh, Dave, it's an honor to be here with you because you and I have known each other for a long time. And behind the scenes, when I'm mentoring with people, I just reach behind my desk and I pull out your branded songwriter information. Oh. And for those of you that may be listening, when you come into Nashville, don't miss a Dave Lenahan show. Oh. My husband is a booking agent, and he books talent nationwide in community theaters. And I'm telling you, Dave, you are an incredible. I was fortunate to come out recently to see you host around, and you're such an amazing entertainer. We just had the CMA Awards, right? Yeah. Here in Nashville. It's a very exciting time. And what is the coveted award of the year at the CMAs?
Entertainer of the year, right? Yeah.
Entertainer of the year. That's what they make you wait. And sweetie, you are an amazing performing artist yourself, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me as your guest today.
Sorry, I have to tell you, I'm really thankful that it's not a video podcast because I'm blushing so red right now. Thank you so much. And it means so much coming from you. I mean, my goodness.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm very humbled to work with the wonderful talent that I've been doing this a long time, as you know, almost 30 years. It's been 28 years on Music Row, and I count myself very fortunate to be able to hear the songs, which are pages of people's lives, or their thoughts, and for many years now. So thanks for having me tonight.
It's absolutely amazing what you do. It really is. And you preach a lot about the 3 E's, and I wanted for you to right. That's like your mantra. Sure. Yeah, right. The 3 E's are what?
Well, right. They encourage, equip, and empower. Yeah. I used to be a songwriter, and now my members of Global Songwriter Connection, they are my songs.
Wait. Hold on. Is there such thing as used to be? You're always a songwriter.
Well, no, not really. But I don't really write anymore. But I feel like I write through my members. I'm mentoring their songs, giving suggestions. But it's encourage, equip, and empower. And I'll be honest with you, every day, my husband's downstairs right now, but every day I start my day with these words: God used me today to encourage, equip, and empower your creators to be making a living and a difference with the gifts and the talents that you've given them. Wow. And that's what those 3 E's are for. Mm-hmm. And it's to encourage, equip, and empower. And, it's working. We're getting the deals, and people are making a living, and I'm so thankful and grateful to be included in their journey.
It's something I heard recently. It was like it's 230 some recently.
No, 205.
205.
Johansson was 205. Joe Henson is number 205. He just signed. I was so thankful. 205 publishing deals that I've been a part of. That's just awesome. Signed with Ash Bowers at Wide Open Music. I think it may have gone out in Music Row magazine this past week. I happened to have been in New York when they were doing the photos, and not it always happens I'm somewhere else. But I'm thankful and grateful But there's many that are up and coming that I'm able to be a part of that are kind of on the cusp of, and some things that are happening. I've got a couple of more that are working that I'm pretty excited about.
That's good.
That hopefully next time I'm here with you, I can tell you about those.
That would be fantastic. Oh, that means there'll be a next time. I'm open. That's great. I will tell you this. Whenever I sit down with you, whenever I have a mentoring session with you, I leave on cloud nine. I'm just floating out of the room because you do inspire. Inspire should be an I in there. The three, because I feel so inspired and so empowered is your word. Because you're always so full of such great advice and possibilities. And that's what I love about you.
Well, being for, so many of my members, they're like me, where they're self-employed. Number one, I know how they feel because I had my own publishing deal, as you were so gracious to mention. And so what I really am all about is truly helping them to set themselves apart in that sea of sameness. There are a lot of people that will say, do this or do that, but I don't want to just tell you what to do. I do my best to try to show you how
you do.
To do that.
Yeah.
So that when you leave, you're really equipped. Inspiration is wonderful, but information is better. And I want to do my very best within the time I have in a mentoring session to equip you with the information that will help you to get closer to your goals and whatever you're trying, to achieve. And by the way, while we're talking, I'm sitting here looking at your thank you card and your smiling face in front of that microphone. So it's like I'm just talking to you. It's right here behind me. So if people want to see that, you have to mentor with me. I'm happy to share it.
Yes. Let's talk about your mentoring sessions. And Global Songwriter, we can find you online.
Sure. Globalsongwriters.com. Globalsongwriters.com. And what my goal and my purpose is, I'm really thankful and grateful to, for many years, as you know, I was at the National Songwriters Association
I think
International.
That's where I first met you, Sheree, was in SA. I was a coordinator in Cincinnati.
Coordinator. And thanks to all those that give of their time. I'm still friends with so many coordinators nationwide, and so thankful. And I did a ton, as you know, of group events, which are wonderful, and I encourage, like spring training with 300 people. But what I discovered that really helped people to move forward as an individual creator, because I say this, the joy of my job is everyone is uniquely different. And the challenge of my job is everyone is uniquely different. And so I discovered that I was actually able to find the song champion or the deals through the one-on-one mentoring. And that's what I do at Global Songwriter Connection is I really dig in with my member and I take that journey with them. Some people I've worked through 2 and 3 publishing deals with them, and through different circumstances and situations. And so it is a community, but it's not really about large group activities, although our mixers are usually massive. We've had like 550 people at them, but
they're incredible.
It's more about really working with that creator, their mission, their message, and my logo at Global is where dreams find direction. Yeah. Desire is wonderful, but direction is really helpful, to move forward. And so that's what my mentoring sessions are about. They're for an hour, and we talk about your goals or your needs. Nothing thrills me more than to dream with my members and to watch those dreams. Like Joe Hansen, for example, he was just in the national scene, best of his country artist. We have Dan Harrison, who in the duo Salem Town was the best band, I think, in the Nashville scene, best of edition. And we just had Riley Bria, who was Nashville's best instrumentalist in the Nashville scene. And so it's a really humbling to be included. Just like when you and I met recently, I get really excited because I know what you're capable of. You're an industry professional in this industry yourself with a long track record. And I just really believe in your music. I remember sitting at the venue recently and you were doing that squirrel song. And, it's at the level of like a Ray Stevens. And we haven't had something like that in a long time that's been out there. And I love your projects and your music. And so, again, each person, even though we're maybe all songwriters or maybe you're a musician but the dreams are a little bit different. Some creators are more internal. You don't meet a stranger. You just don't meet a stranger. You could just talk to anybody. They walk up and they feel like they've known you forever. But not everybody has that gift that you have. That's just,
I think that's what I love about your organization. You focus on the you and you. Like I come to you with some fuzzy ideas of what I want, and then you help me focus, on what that direction will be. And I imagine that's what you do with everyone, the work that you do.
I try because that's my mission and that is my life purpose and that is my life passion. And I just never, we're in the week of, we're in the holiday time and there's so much going on holiday season. And just, I'm so thankful and so grateful. What a gift it is to me for people to sit down with me and just pour out their heart and their dream and their vision. And then it's work. It's work. What you do is work. What I do is work. But it's so cool to see it all really happen and take place and come to fruition. And it's so incredible. I get all excited about it.
I tried to send a lot of people your way that are new, because we had a lot of people who are new to town that come in, want to play the writers' nights and things, and they want advice right away. And I say you should really contact Sheree because
thank you for that.
She'll help you put it together and give you that advice you need in that direction. And it's more than just mentoring. There's so much else that you do, that you offer. And what I also like about it too is songwriters, we're not always we're not made of money when we're first starting up. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg to join GSC, and you can get on that. And there's so much information available just on the website every day. You can check, and then there's pitch sessions, and there's just so many song critiques and things. Tell us all about the whole globe. And we keep talking a lot about Nashville too. And I want to say, it's not just country music. It's global. I hate genres anyway, but I mean, you've worked with artists and songwriters in every genre.
Yeah. One of my members and I'm so thrilled and I'm so excited that I'm really proud of her. She's just been through it to stick with it. Was probably one of the first actual pop deals signed in Nashville. When I opened my company 10 years ago, I named it Global Songwriter Connection because my husband works with all genres of music all over the world, books talent from all over the world, and I love all genres of music. And Nashville isn't called Country Music City; it's called Music City.
So right, and
this is Music City. And so, but when it came to signing contracts, for many years, it was all about country deals. If you were actually in the pop market, you really had, even though you might be from Nashville, say like a Meghan Trainor or, Kings of Leon, the deals were actually done in LA. And so the truth about this thing, I'm so excited, Lauren Miller, she goes by Malibu Baby. And I got to be a part of her, Dr. Luke, who produced Katy Perry and Cash and different ones. He opened up a company called Prescription Nashville. He also has Prescription out of LA. I work with their company out there as well. And Lauren Miller is the songwriter. She just had, I was so honored to be at her very first #1 party. She's been signed for 6 years. It's her very first #1 with Nicki Minaj.
How about that? That's crazy.
I honestly think she's about to have another one. And I honestly think she's probably going to have about 4 or 5. There's a pipeline. But, it took forever. And I don't think that she would mind my sharing this because I've been so honored. She's been so kind and so good to me to include me in her journey. She used to pitch her songs on my publisher online pitch event. And then I was so honored to be a part of her mentoring while she's working out her deal and everything. And that company It's also Katie Fagan is head of Prescription Nashville. It's their very first number one here in Nashville in the pop market.
That is
their
great.
Very first number one. So not only is it Lauren's very first number one, but the company has been in business for 6 years, and it's Nashville Prescription's the very first number one. And it was such an honor to be there. CSAC, E.T. Brown, Shannon Hatch were so kind to of CSAC, which is a performing rights organization here in Nashville. We're so kind to throw a lovely number one party, and then Sheree Fitch out in L.A., all of their team out there also did that. But it was so nice to be at her number one party and to be included. But Nashville is diversifying. I've always, Global is 10 years old as a business. And I love working with different genres of music. And we are really, I will often say I'm not good at a lot of things, but I'm really good at tapping into those various markets. And sometimes we just are able to put people to work in booking to where they can make a living. I have one of my members that probably will never get a publishing deal in Nashville and will never get a label deal, but they are going to make close to, I'm not going to say a name because I'm sharing income information that we get to be a part of, but they're probably going to make over $200,000 next year.
Wow.
Booking.
Wow.
And touring. Yeah. And so, but that's a lot of work, and we've done the work, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so thankful to be a part of that. So booking, we understand the 360 process of not everybody's going to get a puff deal, Dave. You know that.
Right.
You know that this city is full. There's 65,000 singer, songwriter, musicians in Nashville alone. I'm on a private Nashville Music Industry Chamber of Commerce panel. 65,000. Less than 0.5% of that will probably ever get, a pub deal or a label deal. But it doesn't mean if you're listening to this podcast, thank you for listening, first of all. Just because you don't have a pub deal and just because you may not have a label deal doesn't mean that you can't be out there making a living and a good living with your gifts and talent. And that's
we've talked about it on this podcast before. The DIY artists, they're doing well. You don't need a record company today, do you? There's the double-edged sword that we always talk about. How the internet killed the mechanicals. People don't buy music; they stream it. But it's also created an opportunity for independent artists, and you can tell us how.
Well, one of my groups that I worked with for 2 years, they don't need me anymore, but you can check them out, and I love it. I'm not about people being codependent. I want people to grow up and leave home, as I say. I want them to be. But Taylor Red, my wonderful group that I had the privilege of booking them and helping them and working with them, they now have over 13 million TikTok followers. I think they're number 9 on YouTube in the world right now. In the world on YouTube, your listeners can check them out. Taylor Red on TikTok and YouTube,
and that pays money. That pays good money. If you're 19 million views.
Yes, I won't even mention those numbers because I've mentioned their name, and so I'm not going to mention those numbers. But you are absolutely right, beyond what you can even imagine. Now, some of their beyond what you can imagine, Dave. I mean, but the thing is, some of their stuff that they do appeals to the fashion world, but music and fashion is always run together, and their videos aren't always about their music. But I can give you an example. They did a single release. Probably it's been about a year ago. They put out a single release, and I think it was a 2-hour session, and I don't have the exact number, but I know I'm going to be close. In 2 hours, they had about 200,000 people online for their live single release.
That's crazy.
Now, I think the stadium here holds 70,000.
Nissan Stadium,
Direct to market is something that I teach and have taught it for many, many, many years because I was a performing indie artist, and my dad had a studio and he performed
in Muscle Shoals, right? If I remember, Muscle Shoals.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yes. Yeah. And so, and people, outside of Nashville or in Muscle Shoals, or sometimes even in Austin, Texas, or other music meccas, Atlanta, they don't even think they maybe need Nashville, right? To make a living. But it is very much a direct to market world. And I love that because it truly empowers artists to be making a living or to write and to even help. And so those are some of the things that I love. I just love doing, and I'm honored to do that. Mary Heather Hickman is another one. I think she's over 6 million on TikTok to check out. And, so just a few of the people that I've had the privilege of being a part of what they're doing. Taylor Red, it was such a joy. Last year they were booked at Dollywood, and in the Celebrity Theater, we got to go up there and was a part of getting that booked. And it's just so wonderful to see people moving from like a small venue, Writers Round, which there's no such thing as a small venue. Always act as if you're performing for 2,000. It's really great when you get to see them performing for thousands. It's really exciting.
Oh, yeah. It is exciting. Yeah. You know what? And that's really good. Let me ask you this. So did I tell you folks you needed to have a pen and a paper to write these things down? We're going to check out all those folks. You can always back this podcast up or listen again. This is one you're going to want to listen to again. So let's say you're just starting out as a songwriter, maybe you're a songwriter artist. Right. What advice would you have for folks? You don't necessarily have to, it used to be that they used to say, you have to go. Great advice I had one time from a songwriter said, you can put a bucket out in the middle of a field and you'll never get a cow to back up over it. And what he meant was you need to be in Nashville, but that's not necessarily the case anymore, direct to market.
Not at all. Patrick Dodge in New York, I'm really proud of him, signed to Woody Bomar at Green Hills Music. Wow. Danny Reed from Alabama signed to Dallas, Dallas Gregory. Song Rocket Music. I mean, I can go through so many.
Wow.
Music moves in a digital world.
It is.
Music is very much a digital world. And it does help if you come into town because it's about relationships. But COVID and Zoom, my company has always been digital. Yeah. My company has always been online. I was using Skype, phone, or whatever to mentor. But Zoom, and there's going to be other platforms, I'm sure, that'll make us all be a hologram like we're sitting in the same room in the future.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
But it does help if you're an artist, but it isn't absolutely necessary. Jane Sachs, who lives in Ohio, is signed to Matt Lindsay. Was fortunate to be a part of that.
She's amazing.
Deal. Yeah, she's fantastic. There's just so many different ways to get it done today. Now, for an artist wanting a label deal, I really think it's important that you be there, but honestly, you need to be out touring so that you can fly somebody out to see you in your element, So
they're looking for things today. People, they want to know how many downloads you have, how many people are streaming your music, right?
Right.
Yeah.
For your artist, the things that labels are looking for, and it's pretty much in this order. And you would have to pay an entertainment attorney, maybe $450, $550 or whatever, for this information, and they'd go into more detail. But you can listen here to Dave's podcast at Songwriters Connection, and you're going to get this at no charge. But social media numbers are number one. If you want to be a label deal, number one. Number two, you want to be an artist, you want a label deal, you need to be able to sell tickets or put butts in seats at a venue at about 250 to 500 or up. And then number three, it helps if you get cuts by other major artists. If you're a songwriter and you can get another like a Kane Brown or whatever genre that you're in, a Nicki Minaj or whomever, if you can get cuts by other artists who are signed, that greatly increases. Somebody told me recently, and I'm not going to name the label because I get a lot of behind the scenes information, but a major label here in Nashville had not signed an artist from a showcase in 3 years. Now, part of that's probably due to COVID, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much, most publishers, most labels are looking at TikTok or social media numbers. They are using that. Dave, you and I were going to remember when they used to have the CDs that went out called CDX.
Oh, I do remember them. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Right. It was a test market. You've been in radio for so long.
Oh, yeah.
Those would come in, and that would be a test market. Well, for artists and writers right now, TikTok, social media, YouTube, that's the test market for labels to see what the buying public is going for, what they're interested in. And that saves them. They used to have to do, really high dollar, marketing test market things that were incredibly expensive, that were big budget items out of the artist budget that the artist would owe back to that label, right? And now that's one of the things that direct to market has offered is they don't have to do that. So, it's really a good thing to do that because you're really in business for yourself. When you're an artist, even if you're signed to a label, you're still in business for yourself, just like I'm in business for myself. And I hope that makes sense to all of your listeners. And by the way, for everybody who's listening, thank you to everyone who's out there listening, to everybody who's a dreamer, who's listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast with Dave. Go back, like you said, re-listen. Right. I always say teamwork makes the dream work. I actually have been fortunate to help a lot of people start companies, and I consider them my friends and my partners and people in this. And we're all, Nashville's a big family together. So
it really is.
I just encourage you to listen to everybody and take and receive what resonates with you. If there's something I say that resonates with you, then by all means, please use it. And if not, maybe it's for later down the road or maybe something somebody else said on another podcast. But you're going to need somebody in your corner. You don't have to necessarily live here, but you're going to need somebody to make those connections for you. You're going to need somebody who knows how the processes work and teach you how those processes work.
That's great. And you're one that can teach them. Connections, Songwriter Connection, the Global Songwriters Connection. I don't want to say there was no, I started thinking about, we named this show, but I originally had a TV show back in Cincinnati called Nashville Songwriter Connection. So I just kind of kept the thing, not to steal from you at all. I swear.
I was hoping I had inspired you. I was going to be so honored if you had. I would be like, whoa, that's the coolest thing ever. Yeah, and of course, I think it's the coolest thing ever anyway,
and I
Dave.
Do too.
I don't, connections are something we all need. I certainly don't. It's not anything new. That's what Merle Kilgore, who wrote Ring of Fire, my mentor, it's what he did. He gave me connections and relationships in the industry. I say of him that he shared his light with me, and it's an honor for me to do that for others. And I hope that he's really proud. Barbara Orbison did that. Yeah. She did that same thing. I remember even representing some of the catalog of the Traveling Wilburys.
Wow.
And it's like, oh my gosh, it was like pretty door opening, right?
Incredible.
And for some things, she was kind enough to include me in so many things in her life, both personally and professionally. And I really appreciate that. I learned a lot from her. And
I've heard so much about her. I wish I could have had a chance to meet her. And we lost her just a few years ago, right?
She passed away. Here's something for one of the Nashville stories, and I encourage your listeners. Their company is called Still Working Music. It's run by her son, Alex Orbison.
Wow.
You guys have got to look up Roy Orbison III. I think he's 6 years old, and he's out playing with Joe Walsh and on the stage with everybody. But Barbara loved Roy, and Roy Orbison passed away on December the 6th. I think it was 1988. And Barbara Orbison passed away of pancreatic cancer and willed herself to live in a very painful disease until December the 6th.
Oh, my.
So that, and this is what she told me. Here's behind the scenes. She wanted Roy's name in the headlines one more time.
Oh, my.
And so her passing away was the widow of Roy Orbison.
Huh.
What a love story,
What a love story. You're right.
It was such a love story that I got to see. It's amazing. And I'm very thankful. I used to be in situations and I would call my dear mother, who's really not doing well right now. I call my dear mother and I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't usually say this, but one time I got to cook for, Bob Dylan. And it was like, what the heck am I doing? Picking him up and taking him. It was just so many wonderful, wonderful things that I got to do that she opened the door for me. And she was very, very kind and gracious to me. And I really appreciate it. She wasn't easy to work for. She wasn't easy to work for.
No.
But, anybody in this town knows she was very driven for Roy's catalog. And she made a lot of wonderful things to happen. But she had a big vision and a big world. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
And now you have. Let's just take a little bit of a break right here. When we come back, I want to talk about some of the artists and writers that you've been working with. And we'll play little bits of their music, and you can tell us a little bit about their journeys and how you help them.
I love it.
Sheree Spoltore is our guest on the Songwriter Connection podcast.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Back with Sheree. Hi, Sheree.
Thanks, Dave.
What an informative podcast today.
I'm being of service. I so hope I'm being of service to your listeners.
Absolutely. This is incredible. Thank you so much. I'm sure they're getting a lot out of it. And like I said, one you're going to want to back up and listen to again. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the people that you've been working with. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about their journey. Jeffrey East, for instance. Let's throw his name out there first. I met him at one of your mixers, and just a great guy and a great songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so fortunate to get him a publishing deal. I've worked through just kind of behind the scenes, just as a mentor with him through 3 publishing deals, but one that I got was with Zabitson. Did a pitch to publisher luncheon at NSAI. When I was there, and they called it, and he is somebody. Please, your listeners, go check out Jeffrey. I think it's Jeffrey Joseph East on Instagram, TikTok. I think he is like the James Taylor of our generation. He has a unique signature sound. He is now signed with Lauren Funk at Endurance Music, and he's just a phenomenal artist or writer. His songs, what I love about them, have such I can't be unbiased about him. I confess, I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey East. He has a signature artistic vocal styling. His descriptive details and his songwriting. This is a great example of putting furniture, what an industry pro would call putting furniture or the details in a song. I'm so glad that I get to talk about Jeffrey. And are you going to play something of his?
Actually, I picked out one right here. A lot of it, songwriting we talked about is perspective, putting the camera in a different place. And you hear the people always say time flies. What's time? Right. But I've never heard it described as being cold before. And so this song I found is Time is Cold. And let's just listen to a little bit of this, maybe a verse and a chorus.
Sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. Jeffrey East.
Time is cold. No, it don't care.
What a voice.
When you want more, there's none to spare. It'll tick-tock right behind our backs. Run off, leave us in the past. Who knows? Time is cold.
Beautiful.
Blink once, it'll slip on by. Let's take this moment and hold on tight. If we ever let it go, it's gonna fly away. Time is cold, baby. Let me keep you warm.
Woo!
Isn't that something? Beautiful. Let me keep you warm. Time is cold. I love it. That song really hit me when I first heard it.
What a voice, right?
Absolutely.
Dave, you oversee around here in Nashville, and you have so many, great vocalists that come in, but he just has that signature. To me, he's genre-less. In other words, he could go in the pop genre. He can be in the country genre. He can be, he is a world-class talent. He's just an amazing world-class talent and a world-class person. This is what I often say of Jeffrey East. And I tell him this to his face. It's like, thank God he has skin and bones. Or he's an earth angel that would just fly away. He's just a good guy. He's a really good man and a great co-writer, and he supports and encourages others. And that's a trait I really respect, is when, you've met those that are just about themselves and their career and their song. And Nashville is really a teamwork makes a dream work mentality.
Really yep.
And that describes Jeffrey. He's fantastic. And I'm honored he writes with some of my members. And I'm just looking for, in 2023, I think they're actually going to be looking to launch him as an artist. And he's doing direct to market.
Oh, good.
And, oh, my gosh, he's out touring and so forth. I'm really excited for his 2023 year.
That is a name to remember, Jeffrey East, for sure.
Yeah.
Coming up on the podcast here in a couple of weeks, Alexa Valentino. I know you've worked with Alexa.
Oh, yeah.
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 And we're going to get inside her head and make a connection here in, like I say, a couple of weeks. Yeah. What can you tell us about her?
Well, I met her when she was 14.
14.
She was almost turning 15.
Wow.
She was 14 years of age. This girl, her work ethic is impeccable. And let me tell you, for all the listeners that are out there is no one waving a magic wand to make anything happen. You have to have the magic yourself, and you have to work to make it happen. And I'm so honored to be a mentor of hers through my connections that I've made with her. She's gotten a lot of her songs signed. She's got a lot of great publisher relationships. She's actually working with a Nashville publisher, that's looking at potentially, signing her, for which I'm really thankful and grateful. And we have a couple of other opportunities going. I call her the Lady Gaga of the future, in that she's from New York. She's got Broadway training, professional vocal training. She's been teaching piano lessons since she was 12, I think. She's just genius, to help pay bills and to pay for what she needs. She has a unique story that your listeners, I don't know when that podcast is going to happen, but your listeners are going to love hearing. She's just an overcomer.
It's just a couple of weeks away. Just a couple of weeks away, 2 weeks away. So, I cannot wait to meet and talk with her. And this is an example. This is not a country artist, right? She's in the pop genre. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's listen to her a little bit. This is a song called See You in Hell. Strong song.
Sure.
Written and performed, right?
Yes.
Lost your mind. Now I'm losing time. I was on the phone, better off alone, and you're never nice. Love to pick a fight. Think I'm always wrong, and you hate my songs. It's not worth it. Don't deserve this. Keep your hurting to yourself. Oh, and get some help, 'cause you burned every bridge, now you're crossing mine. Gave you a chance, but you crossed the line. Trying to forget it all. Why you gotta make it difficult? I could write a book with every story I've heard. Don't know how you live, but never seem to learn. You got nobody else, you did it to yourself. Booked a one-way ticket, I'll see you in hell.
Well, I don't like to compare artists to other artists, but, being that young and writing songs of that depth, it right away comes to mind like a Taylor Swift, She's incredible. Yeah.
I agree. And that's when I say, like a future, only because of her training, or Jeffrey East, like James Taylor, and that he was in so many genres that he could fit in. It's just like you got to try to somehow describe them, and sometimes they're a little indescribable, but I love that song. It's one of her latest releases. You can check her out. It's Alexa Valentino. Mm-hmm. I've been fortunate to hook her up with writers and meetings, and she's just a pro at what she does, and I'm really looking forward to her having an incredible artist career.
Kind of
and so I work in film and TV, the sync market as well, pop, Americana, and so we have relationships out of LA, New York, Nashville,
incredible.
Atlanta, Austin as well. Yeah.
You need to make a connection with Sheree, folks. Global Songwriter Connection. You do. You need to. Yeah.
Oh,
So
you're so sweet.
You knew her from a very young age. The next person I want to talk about, I've known since she was 12 or 13. She used to come to all of our meetings in Cincinnati. Her mom would bring her to the NSAI meetings, and we just fell in love with her because she's the sweetest person. I've got to watch her grow, not only as a person, but as an artist. And then I come here to Nashville. I moved here in 13, and she was taking a year off from college, enjoying the Nashville music scene. See what it was all about. And then she went to college, 4-year degree, and came back. And at the same time, she was working, Sheree, on music while she was going to school. She was writing and performing and building that following that you need today. Right. And then comes back to Nashville, puts on a showcase at the local. And I watched it, and I remember going up to her afterwards and hugging her and saying, I've just seen you. I've seen you, your cocoon just hatched. You became a butterfly in front of me. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so fun, right, to know people for years. I mean, Nashville's called a 10-year town. It's the same way in L.A. It's the same way in New York. Mm-hmm. A lot of life happens in 10 years. Yeah. And it's so nice that you've known somebody's story. I feel like when something like that happens, that you're meant to know that story, and that people will always have a connection when you're there at the beginning, because not everybody's going to have that opportunity. A lot of people are jump on that bandwagon and be a fan once they're a star, but you were a fan before they were a star.
Absolutely.
Now, who is it that we're talking about?
We're talking about Olivia Francis, who's also been on this podcast, and we got to get her back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's just she. We talk about I always talk about how I hate putting people in genres and stuff, but I love when artists create their own, right? Yeah. And she calls what she does sunshine story pop. And I think it fits perfectly.
Another genreless, right? But that's what the market can allow, to where instead of trying to fit a market, if you don't necessarily fit a market, you can find your market.
And that's exactly what she's been doing.
That's what I love to do is that.
Yes.
Yeah. I do put her, because I'm promoting her to some labels and to some publishers. I call her the Queen of Americana. She's far beyond. She can play in different genres. She can. But hers has that little bit of a thread of that Americana-ish. The storytelling is definitely country. Oh, yeah. But, she is a pro.
She really is.
She's an absolute professional. She's a joy. She is a delight. And that's a tip and a tool right there, is be easy to work with. For whoever's out there listening, you want to be working with people, be easy to work with, be a good hang, be fun to be around, and that kind of thing. It really helps. I love this girl. I'm just crazy about her songs and her music. She's just a phenomenal songwriter. She's a delight to work with and a joy. What song are we playing?
How about Wind Chimes? I love Wind Chimes. How about we play a little bit of that?
I love this song. Yeah.
She's amazing. A wonderful person. And so genuine.
I think about you on the other side. Wish you'd stayed longer in my life. The days pass by like bricks and stones, but I know where to go so I don't feel alone. I listen to the wind shines as the breeze blows.
Makes you want to sing along.
I can feel your spirit in the air. I listen to the wind shines as I close my eyes. You're touching my heart like a prayer. Suddenly I'm back to summer days with you. We're sitting on my front porch swing with the sky powder blue. You're telling me I can do anything I set my mind to. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. I listen to the wind chimes.
She can do anything she sets her mind to, just like the song says, and that is Olivia in a nutshell. Let me tell you, she is amazing.
Olivia Francis. That's Olivia Francis, guys. And, you know, her voice has such a unique timbre and timbre to it. It's just got that, it's a very signature very signature sound. You know, it's just, and that's Frances with the E-S.
E-S, yes.
For those that, Frances with the E-S, if you happen to look for her on social media, Olivia Frances. And if you check out any of these artists, tell them that you heard them on
Please
Dave
do.
Linehan, Sheree and Dave talking about him.
Yeah, please
Tell
do.
them we're talking behind their back. Good stuff.
I'm going to be texting Olivia, too. We talked about you. Your ears burning. You bet.
Oh,
She's amazing. You know what I love about her, too? She does work it so hard. Even when she comes and plays my Writers Round, a little place called the 12 Keys here in Hermitage, she brings her her sign-up sheet with her. She goes around and meets everybody. And would you like to be on my mailing list? And she sends out her newsletters all the time. She builds her audience, and I'm sure she got a lot of that from you, huh?
I hope so. I do teach my members that if you're an artist writer and you're performing, you need to have what's called residual results. You don't want to just walk away with a paycheck. You're going to want to walk away with an email list and bookings. There are certain places that if you're the concert or you're the person doing the show, there are certain places where it's acceptable that you can say, hey, I've so enjoyed playing here at, let's pretend it's called the Bloomin' Onion. So enjoyed playing here at the Bloomin' Onion. I'm going to be over at the meet and greet table. If you've got a block party, a holiday corporate event, you need talent, I sure would appreciate you considering me. And people get, you can walk away with a couple more bookings every time you work to get a booking. And bookings are hard to get, know, so if you can get another one or two while you're there at that show, it really does help. So she's
how
fantastic.
you do it. Yeah, she really is. I'll tell you another fantastic person we had on the show a while back, and I loved her story. And she's another person that just inspires you is Ava Page. And I know you could talk a lot about Ava and Ava's Army and everything she's been through. But bottom line, she's a cancer survivor, and she talks about her story and has fought through. And I think she's cancer free now.
She is. She had leukemia, and as I'm talking to you, on my printer is her sticker that says Ava's Army. It's turquoise, and I just adore Ava. Ava is a superstar now. Ava is country music. She is the real deal country music artist.
Yes. And a fantastic writer and performer and player.
Oh, my gosh.
She's amazing.
Here's her. Since she was 12 years of age, she was performing down at George Jones here in Nashville. She was doing 2-hour sets. I met her when she was like 14 years of age. She's 18 now. And I'm a huge fan of Ava. She's a superstar. I mean, she hangs with, Chip Epstein now. She's writing songs with movie stars, television stars. Marie Osmond can call her at any time. But the honest thing is her entire family, her mom and dad I just appreciate them being in our lives. They're fantastic. And I was so thankful that our Global Songwriter Connection family and the music industry at large was really supportive while she battled leukemia. She had a rare form of leukemia. And guys, it was a tough battle. Yeah. There were moments, we said a lot of prayers. My husband and I, we love her, and she's incredibly talented. Check out Ava Page.
Ava Page.
Paige. Paige. And she is Nashville. She is country music industry. You will see her get Entertainer of the Year CMAs at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's the real deal. We're going to play a song of hers.
Just a little bit.
Well.
How about Gentleman Jack, her new one? This is the one that just came out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's great. And I think she wrote this too, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, she did.
He loves drinking, but he's no good at it. When you're with him, we both know what happens. By the time I see it on his face, I'm already too late, and I'm left here cleaning up the mess you've made. You ain't no angel on his shoulder. You're just a ghost that creeps in from no gentleman, Jack.
That's how you pay off a hook, folks, right there.
Woo!
That's fantastic. You ain't no gentleman, Jack. That is great.
Yeah.
Ava Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has such a signature country sound. She's born and raised. We call her a unicorn. Born and raised here in Nashville. And that's another about our GSC members that I say is that, you're not just another number. I know my members, and they're kind enough to include me in their life struggles as well as the joys, because guess what, in the creative industry there's a lot of struggles goes on. It's not for the faint of heart, and so she's just fantastic. I don't know if you know this, but she was on cereal boxes recently on behalf of
how about that?
On behalf all across America. Yeah. On behalf of some of your listeners may have seen her on the cereal boxes, but check out Ava Page.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And she really is.
Another name to remember. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just some of the folks
I feel like I just get to work with the best of the best.
You have. Yes, you have. Yeah. And those are just a few of them. There's a long roster there. Hey, bottom line is, if you're going to make it in this business, you're going to need a mentor or two or three or four. And you can do no better than our guest today, Sheree Spoltore. And I hope you'll go to Global Songwriter Connection, the webpage, check it out, become a member if you can. And we'll see you, I'm sure, because it's a great community. And you'll be a part of it, and you'll feel a part of it. And we want you to be a part of it. We really do. We want you to succeed. So,
thank you so much for having me tonight as a guest, and thanks to all the listeners for supporting Dave Lenahan. And if you come to Nashville, please be sure to check out his shows. They're going to be listed in the Nashville scene, but it's worth coming to see him. I went out recently, my husband and I, just because he's hosting a show. I don't get out that much because music's happening in my office, but Dave, you're special, and I really, really appreciate it.
I can't tell you what a pleasure it was to see you that night there. And I was probably more nervous playing in front of you than anybody, because, like I said, when you play for a mentor, somebody that you respect and admire, it's sometimes it's nerve-wracking. So, yeah. But I love seeing it.
Nerve-wracking on my end. You're too kind. All right.
I love you, Sheree, and I thank you so much for taking the time to be on our podcast. And let's do it again sometime, okay?
That sounds fantastic. We'll cover a specific subject of like a little workshop or something. If that would be of any service, I would look forward to it. That would be awesome. I would love that. Hey, all the best to you. Prayers to your mom, and have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you, too. All right.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lenahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.